Welcome and thank you for joining Addiction by Addicts. Here are your hosts, Neil Terazinski and Jessica Rosado.
First things first, welcome to Addiction by Addicts. That's the name of the podcast. It's hosted by me, Neil Terazinski, and Jessica /Cindy I don't even fucking know what anymore.
As long as not bitch.
DD
What's DD?
Rosado.
You got jokes.
And, basically the premise of the podcast is addiction, overcoming it outside of your typical 12-step process, which there's nothing wrong with, but, there's things to learn about just the different things different people do. Personally, just to give you a little bit of background, I've kind of dealt with this from an alcohol standpoint. And do I have a ton of clean time sober? Absolutely not. I have had slip-ups fairly often, even after going to rehab, detox, intensive outpatient. Another, which is the acronym, or the full-on spelling for the acronym IOP, which a lot of people use. And, along the way you hear things like there's a simple plan, there's people who use ayahuasca, which is a Central American plant medicine, there's meditation, there's religion, there's so many different outlets that what you end up finding out is it's like anything else. It's like working out, it's like finding a relationship. The same thing isn't going to work for anyone. So what I kind of saw the need for, and the reason for this podcast, are the different outlets for fighting this problem. Because if one thing doesn't work and you keep on trying to do the same thing over and over again, you just end up butting your heads. And I hate the cliche because now it's a new thing, but it's not a new thing. It's old hat, and people like try and sound smart when they say it. But the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. Everyone knows that, but putting that into practice is the fucking hard thing, which is what this is. And then lastly, like I said, I've slipped up, I've fucked up plenty of times, put people in bed. Some people know this firsthand. Some of those people are sitting
Wonder who
across
that can be. I wonder. But it takes a big heart with open arms to
accept someone for peeing on the floor.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
So,
well, yeah, that, and
let's be honest, everyone. Pee and poop.
You didn't. Well, so far you haven't shitted on the floor.
I'm just saying.
Did we get to that point, then it's serious.
Let's get ready
And then something's going to definitely, I'm not having that. I don't pick up shit, especially from a human being.
So, I did notice a dog crate in the backyard for some reason.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
A typical fucking Puerto Rican.
¿Cómo te llamas?
That Jessica is. She's got a random ass dog crate.
It has your name on it.
No dogs. I'm gonna wake up in there one morning.
Oh yeah. Definitely. And it's gonna have a big padlock on it.
Yeah, she's housebreaking me. Anyway, that's the intro. Not the greatest ever, but that's where we're coming from. Now, it's our first one, and we got a little segment called People That We Wish We Were Sponsored By. If you don't take care of yourself long term, look at the job that you're working at right now. Look at the people who've been there for 20 years. If they look decrepit, broken down, miserable, negative scumbags, that's what you're probably going to be if you put yourself in that environment for a long time. Joe Rogan is almost 50 years old. I'm 34. He would kick the living shit out of me, literally. And in any sort of fighting arena or whatever, he would just fucking karate chop me in half. Same thing with Aubrey Marcus. Those are the people I strive to be. They're in great physical condition. They love what they do. They have positive outlook, smiles on their faces. Is their product a little bit more? I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. But who gives a fuck? They put their money into what they believe in, and I, for one, appreciate that because I feel like we live in a job market now where it's like, how can we fuck you the hardest and get the least amount of feedback? They're not like that. They want to put themselves in, in a situation where they're providing the best possible products and pass that on to the customers. I'm sure they make money off of it. I'm sure they could make more money if they cut corners here and there. Do they cut corners? I don't fucking know. But they don't strike me as people who do cut corners. I don't think Joe Rogan needs a little bit extra money from fucking On It. I mean, the guy's selling out arenas left and right. He's got Fear Factor money, news radio money.
You know
I think he's
about
doing
him.
it for the... I've been listening to him for like 3 years. When you listen to someone for 3 years, hundreds of hours, same thing with Aubrey Marcus. Once again, they could be pulling the wool over my eyes, but you kind of get to know them. I believe in the products. I pay for them myself.
Is that those pills you were giving me that I was like feeling so good?
On It.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I'm asking.
clinically proven with a double-blind placebo test. I think it's the University of Chicago. I should probably know this while I'm giving them a plug. But it's a double-blind placebo test to actually improve your cognitive function. And like I said, if I could be going to the store and saving a little bit of money here and there using Johnny fucking cheap ass's shit, I'd be doing it. But this stuff works, makes you feel good, and you do feel like you're hitting on all cylinders when you take it. Plus they got different stuff like, I know when you put Rogan or Church in the discount line, you save 10% off the supplements, not on the workout equipment. They got chimpanzee looking kettlebells, battle ropes, jump ropes. Once again, stuff's a little bit more costly than you would if you went to, some run-of-the-mill place that does a lot more volume, but their stuff is quality. It's probably going to last you forever, and I think that it's going to a good cause. I think they're actually pushing the bar for people to do well rather than just worrying about profit margins the whole time. I really believe in them. Another one is a personal sponsor, and we're doing stuff that we believe in once again. And the way I met the young lady in front of me, unfortunately, was through Lyft.
Yeah, puppy. I lift your ass up. I literally did. I lift him up. You want to tell the story?
It was hot.
I was
I
hot.
was sweating like you wouldn't believe.
And his hot mamacita pulled up.
And as fate would have it,
Bow chicka wow wow.
little did I know from that day it would go downhill. You know who the other guys are.
Uber.
They're a little bit more
Uber.
Shut your face.
Shittyberg.
And it's a little bit more user friendly. I don't know. I've never had an issue with them. They're definitely a little bit. They don't try and gouge you as much as they can. They're not in the middle of all these crazy lawsuits. And that's it. I'm not going to allude to anything else. The bottom line is that, yeah, I actually did meet her on Lyft. I wish we were sponsored by. Why? They're not paying us. They're not doing anything. We don't give a flying fuck.
Lyft brings you and takes you home safely.
Let me tell you something. Lawyer on the cheap, $2,500. Standard, $5,000. In Cali, on the regular,
Who wants a DUI?
$10,000. You don't want to be able to drive for 18 months? I'm raising my fucking hand. Can't drive for 18 months. You know how bad that sucks? Flip side, I had a girl driving Lyft, which is kind of ironic. Okay, let's not promote that. But there was a long time, trust me, no girl wants to say, how do you get around? I walk, and I hope you live within a mile radius, because...
Although I did see you tipped me very well.
Actually, I didn't tip her shit.
What the
but
hell?
I gave you a 5-star rating.
You give me...
Tipping
What the
women.
hell? You got to tip your Lyft driver. On the app, it gives you a way to tip your Lyft driver.
The longest ad ever. They're actually
okay.
going to hire us. You guys hurt someone. You guys hurt yourself. It could cost you $100,000. You don't want to live with that shit. Be responsible. Be smart.
Call
We're
Lyft.
gonna get fucked up. Use Lyft. Put it on your app beforehand.
Yeah, and you know what? First, if you're a new to Lyft rider, you can get $2 off every single ride, up to $10 if you use Jessica 64399.
All right, let's get back to the
Okay.
regular podcast. All right. Before we start this, we just want to make a couple things clear. One thing is, you guys, you hear us joking around, whatever. This is serious stuff. We know how painful this can be for a lot of people because, one, we've been through it. I've put my family through it. Jessica's family has put her through it. So this is sort of, we don't want to seem like we're coming across as, like we're not taking it seriously. But the bottom line is, anything bad that's really happened to you, whether it's physical abuse or been to jail, yeah, there's serious shit that goes on with this stuff. We joke around, we play around with each other. This stuff can be a death sentence, but you got to live your life. You got to have balance. You got to look for positive stuff, and that's
Surround yourself around positive people.
One of the best ways of getting through this stuff is, I get it. Some people that are listening to this have seen the darkest things that they will ever see in their life, and it's hard for them to get past that. And I was definitely, I haven't gone that bad, and I'm not going to lie and over-exaggerate things and over-dramatize things, but I definitely get you saying it's hard for me to find humor and stuff and laugh at stuff and whatever. I definitely get that. And I don't want to take anything away from that. I don't think that your feelings are invalid or anything like that. But I do want to live my life. Jessica wants to live her life, and we don't want to be what I call the white knucklers, where they've been sober for 10 years, but they're in the meeting complaining, looking for anything negative, looking to blame everyone that they can. Fuck that shit. Take accountability, move on, do positive shit. That's what this podcast is about.
Right, and there's always steps in starting, a new habit to beat this addiction. And it takes hard work. Nothing's easy. No matter what you do in life, nothing is easy. I mean, you put one foot ahead of the other, and you accomplish one thing a day, and then the next day you accomplish something else on top of that, and you just keep moving forward. You got to get yourself away from the people, the negative individuals, the negative environment, the negativity point blank. It's just you're not going nowhere. You're going in a circle. You're going in a circle. You're not going nowhere. You're never going to be nowhere. You're never going to go nowhere. And I don't think that's the intention of your life that you want it to have.
That is the number one principle of this podcast. That is the number one theme of that. And that's, for about 5 years, maybe even 6, thought there was going to be a moment of just all the shit comes together. I see the light. This is my final day of drinking or whatever the fuck, and then I move on with my life. There wasn't that epiphany moment. It wasn't a movie shit. There's been relapses. There's been hurt and people. The only thing that pushed it forward were little things every day where you have to just say, sometimes 5 push-ups is an improvement. Actually, a lot of times 5 push-ups is an improvement for doing nothing for months, sometimes years.
Yeah.
But 5 push-ups can be a win. Not drinking a fucking case of beer and having a 6-pack can be a win. Create wins for yourself. I don't care how fucking small they are. You have to create wins for yourself. What does creating wins do for yourself? It creates momentum. That way, when you have a day where there are no wins, you got something to fall back on and say, fuck. All right, maybe yesterday was a loss, but I can push it forward a little bit better today and have a win. Little by little, that stuff will add up. You don't want to relapse. You don't want to go through that shit, but bottom line is you have to. If you do relapse, it's everyone listening to this that has gone into that mode understands how quickly it is to say, fuck it, I messed up. I'm gonna throw a match and gasoline on this fire and go down to the grave. Done it 1,000 times. Fine. What is this podcast about? You say, fuck it, I messed up. All right, tomorrow, I'm not gonna throw a match on this. I'm not gonna ruin the 5 push-ups I did, which turned into 10, which turned into 15, yada, yada, yada. That's the number one theme of this podcast. We'll get into the other themes and stuff that we've talked about over time, but I think that if you looked at one of the biggest consistencies that Jessica and I talk about, it's whether it's relationships, diet. How many times have you been in a diet and you said, well, I'm going to just keep doing what I do until January 1st comes, and then it's perfection time. Okay. Maybe the last 3 weeks, 2 months. Once you have that piece of cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory, you go, well, I messed up this week, but I'll restart on Saturday. I'll restart on Sunday. I'll restart on Monday. Come on. Same thing with addiction, same thing with food, same thing with any sort of discipline. One of my favorite quotes comes, I don't know where Steve Simone got it, but Steve Simone's a comedian, and he says that success comes from delayed gratification. And I think that kind of helps out with a lot of addictive personalities, because if you can just if you can just get that one day in, yeah, you might fuck up the next day, man. You might fuck up bad. But if you can just put those 1 days, those days that turn into 2 days, that turn into 3 days, you can really, it's a start. It's a start from day after day of bad shit. The day after day of bad shit, which I've been in, my favorite analogy comes from, you feel like you're in a well, a deep well that you can't climb out of. And you look up and you see a light. You know it's there, but you don't know how to get there. And you feel like no one's down there with you and no one can help you. Use the delayed gratification, man. It gets you closer and closer to that light where you can crawl out of it. That is, I think that's what we're going to talk. Since this is the intro podcast, we don't want to go too deep on it. But that's certainly one of the main themes that we...
and stick to someone who's supportive. Support is what you need.
Don't try your hardest not to drag them down and be the codependent person.
Right.
They deserve help too. You gotta get off your fucking dick and not be like, oh, you don't know how bad it hurts. Do some fucking laundry. Do something. Don't be a fucking mook and blame the world for everything. No, have accountability. We'll get into that stuff a little bit later, but since this is a beginning podcast, we kind of want to just, it's almost like a summary of everything that we're trying to get into. We'll go deep a little bit later, but that's a very important point. Quick background, like I stated earlier, my thing was alcohol, fucked me up. Did weed before that. Weed was kind of a bad habit, but never got to PP and evil and the law and lack of driving. Weed was just sort of like a depressing thing. Not saying weed can't be debilitating, it can. It's a whole other thing for a different day, but alcohol is where the darkness came. Got in trouble with the law, spent a whole bunch of money. It was kind of like a sponge on any of the money I was making. And Jessica, if you could quickly sum up what some of your
basically
background is.
Mine is, my parents were alcoholics. I've never been an alcoholic nor a drug user. However, that doesn't make me not a victim. I'm a victim from outside looking in. I mean, I lived it throughout my entire life. It was horrible. We had the police in our house, all kinds of crazy things that we're going to bring
Fork
up.
stabbing.
Knife stabbing, Puerto Ricans and their knives. We had to hide the weapons, or any kind of weapons, knives, forks, they found whatever shoes, they found whatever they needed to beat somebody's ass, or beat each other's ass. But, and then my brothers, they all drank and they got into trouble with drugs and alcohol and so forth. So through childhood, all the way through our adolescent years, all the way to adults, it's followed me through our entire lives. And just 2 weeks ago, my brother's wife passed away from alcoholism. And it's hard. It's hard to see someone go through that. And it was so bad. She didn't even qualify, wasn't even eligible for a liver transplant. The only thing I can do is be supportive to my brother. I'm not saying I'm a prude. Oh, I'm by far a prude. I drink, but I don't drink very often. I don't drink, I don't go out and drink all night and wake up hungover. I drink in a social event. Yeah, I drink. I know how to have fun. Trust me. I'm Latina. I know how to have fun. However, I don't. However, I've never. My kids had never seen me. I have 2 kids. They're grown, and they have never seen me drunk because for me as a mother, as a single mom, I've been a single mom all my life. I've always said to myself, I'm never going to put my children what I went through growing up. And I made sure that, if I did drink and if I was, feeling it a little bit, that they never saw it. You try to protect your children. You protect the people you love. So, yes, growing up, I went through a lot. And I know a lot of people who are addicted to drugs, who have been in rehab, who are in rehab. And I'm sure there's somebody everybody knows. Everybody knows someone who's been addicted to drug or who's in rehab or who's going through a hard time with drugs or alcohol or some other type of addiction. There's all different types. There's sex addiction.
Her brothers. I met them one time. They're really nice guys, but they're your functional alcoholic type person who, like, I call them the slow burn guys because they're kind of like drinking and like she's seen this one time firsthand. I'm a
look
light the building on fire guy.
Yeah.
Her brothers are more like they're when I went to their place, they're drinking and they're functional. They're drinking and smoking all day, and their house has that smoke smell with the stale beer, and you walk in and you're like, I'm home. And there's something.
They're functional alcoholics. That's how they function throughout the day.
I stayed straight that day, but
I felt bad. Okay,
it was one of those. No. This isn't to make you feel bad, but it was one of those. Just so you guys know, because I know what you guys are talking. There's that. You walk in and there's the smell of this shit going on, and anyone who knows that situation knows what I'm talking about. However,
I did know you were uncomfortable, and I was trying to get out there as quickly as I could, and I didn't want to put you in that predicament. I mean, one thing you should never do is put someone who is going through some type of addiction to put them in a situation where they may be vulnerable to the atmosphere that they're in. So, I try to, I was just paying my respects to my brother, but yeah.
I went there after his wife passed away, so that's why we were there in that situation in the first place. Okay, so that's kind of a brief story about what we're doing. One of the things we want to do, and we talked about it earlier, was part of this is work, part of this is pushing forward. And listen, man, I've been in those IOP meetings. I've been in there, and I've been also the guy it's the world's fucking fault. But there ain't no fucking substitution for the work. There ain't no substitution for going through the uncomfortableness. You got to make yourself feel uncomfortable. You got to push through it. You got to accept it is what it is. And really, unless you're in Africa with a fucking fly and you're starving and you have a fly in your eyeball and you're too goddamn weak to blink, shut the fuck up. You got to make yourself fucking feel uncomfortable. And part of making yourself feel uncomfortable is going out there, searching for stuff that relates to you, and saying, hey, I'm going to try this. So, one of our segments, that being said, as a nice, motivating person.
Oh my God.
This is how, and this isn't me calling you guys scumbags or anything like that. This is how I talk to myself. It's not, I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but I'm hard on myself.
Yeah, he's extremely hard on himself, and I particularly know why.
Yeah, because I don't want to fuck up.
Let me tell you, I would drop him off. We will be together all day. And then he'll send me, oh, Jess, can you go get the car? It takes 10 minutes.
This happened one time, but yeah.
Yeah, it takes 10 minutes to get the car. I come back, and he's already bombed. Like, and I look at him like, where did you get to, like, in literally 10 minutes. And this is how easy. You cannot be in the environment that there's alcohol. You cannot have the individual in Camden if you know they're a drug addict. You can't have the individual in a room filled with people who do drugs. I'm not
even this bad, but when I was in IOP, there was a guy who, like, he told his mom when he went to Camden for social services, you drop me off in front of the building, watch me go in, and then you don't leave until you watch me go out the same entrance. And I was thinking, like, I sent her ass on a journey or something, like a 10-minute journey. This guy
it was just me getting the car.
But you know what? That's a relatable thing to most of the people listening to this podcast, I would imagine. However, going back to, got to put the work in, got to be hard. Well, you don't have to be hard on yourself. Maybe I'm too hard on myself. But well-being segment. It's the search. It's one of the reasons why I love Joe Rogan so much. Is I listen to a guy, Wim Hof. He does these breathing exercises. These breathing exercises stimulate your pineal gland, which help stimulate brain activity, which take away from depression, and they help with focus and autoimmune diseases and blah, blah, blah. You got to watch his Vice special. It's fucking incredible. Try to adjust one time. After you're done with the exercises, you really do feel like...
Yeah, you do.
We only did it... This is where the work comes in. We did it one time. We noticed a difference. This was like 3 weeks ago. And we gotta be honest. We haven't done it since. I mean, I've done it periodically over the past 2 years. It's helped. But it ain't gonna do anything unless you're consistent with it. Yeah. Ideally, once in the morning, once in the evening, but at least once in the morning to get... There's nothing wrong with oxygenating your body. And it really does help with any sort of... It really helps with anxiety if you do it a couple days. I can't explain it, but when you're getting that itch to do something wild, it really helps. It really helps. Like that crazy anxiety. When I was in detox, I had this like weird reoccurring thought. I was on the 3rd floor of a hospital, and I was like, I can push that fucking air conditioner out the window and make a rope ladder out of sheets, and you're like itching like, no, this really makes sense. No one's gonna fucking notice anything. And I was like, wait, you gotta breathe. Just started like hyperventilating to just get some sort of positive stimulation in your brain. Cool thing about it, you do it long enough, you get the high on the natch. You get the high on the natural. But you gotta work for the high on the natural. You can't do it 1 or 2 times. Me, personally, when I was in a place that had a cold plunge in a steam room, and I'd go back and forth, and I would do the breathing shit, dude, after you're done, you feel like you smoked a J, which, if you get down with, but that fucking H-bomb and that alcohol will fucking take you down. Weed, whole another matter, we'll talk about it.
What's H-bomb?
Heroin.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever. But, yeah, it really helps, and it helps with your skin. It helps oxygenating your body, deacidifies it, and it makes it more basic, which cognitively does crazy good things for you. This guy's name is, once again, Wim Hof, YouTube, the Iceman. It is a Vice documentary. He's got a bunch of other stuff. I know he's got 2 podcasts on the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience. That is your well-being segment. He's definitely good. What's up, sweetie?
And just, if you feel the urge, you feel the craving, you feel like you're going to do something, go to a meeting. Share your experiences, I go to meetings. With Neil. I go and I sit there and I listen to everyone else, and it's a judge-free zone, and no one's going to judge nobody because everybody's been through it. I don't even judge anyone because I've been through some stuff too, very similar. I'm outside looking in, like I said. Go to a meeting. It's not easy, and it's not going to be easy. It was easy getting into it. Yeah, all it takes is one time, but to get out of it, it's a bitch. But you know what? You have family who love you. You may have kids. You may have brothers, sisters, whoever it may be, and they're suffering too.
Getting out of this shit is going to suck balls for about 3 weeks. It's going to fucking feel like you have the flu. You're going to feel itchy. Your mind's going to play tricks on you. Hopefully you don't have friends or family that are pulling you in that direction. But you got to get out of that environment, stay out of that environment, and just deal with the fucking suck for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it. If I had 10 years of sobriety, I had a 6-pack and was super successful, I would say listen to me. What I do know is this. You gotta have a plan. You gotta come up with a plan. You gotta fight for the plan. And then here's the kicker. If you notice something doesn't work, cool. That's not, oh my God, it didn't work. I'm gonna have to fucking kill everything and everyone in myself.
Figure out plan B.
Adjust. It's okay. It's not a failure to adjust. You're just learning. You're feeling your way out. Your family's going, I can't believe, he didn't learn his... No. Failure is just, hey, I'm going the wrong way. This is how I'm going to adjust. What is your perception of failure? Is your perception of failure you're a weak piece of shit? Is your perception of failure, hey, I'm going in the wrong direction? I've got the wrong bag of tools. I'm going to readjust what tools I need and have, and I'm going to take either a different direction or the same direction with whatever.
When you fail, that means you give up. And you should
That's
never
real failure.
Yeah. When you fail, when you have failed, you gave up. And that means you are 6 feet under because you OD. Sorry. When you fail, you are 6 feet under. That's because you caved in to the addiction. You couldn't beat it for whatever reason it was. And we are not failures here. Neil's not a failure. I'm not a failure, and you're not a failure. Let me tell you, my daughter's father passed away, having an overdose when he came out of jail. OD'd in an abandoned house, and the worst heat wave ever. They didn't find him for 3 days. 3 days. He OD'd. And guess what? They sent him back to an area where he constantly got high. Why? I don't know. Why go back to a place that you know the person's going to get high? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. You send him to freaking Kentucky, or you send him to where the cows are, have him mow some milk off some cows, milk some cows or something. Have him do something different and bring him back to the area where he started doing drugs.
Time, it's always worse when you decide to go back to use. 100% of the time. 99 It wins every fucking time. How many times are we going to have to prove it to ourselves that maybe this next time we use is different? There's taken $400. Both of us have done, I've only done cocaine 3 or 4 times, but that is no bueno.
No bueno.
We both thought that a trash can was a police dog.
What?
Because you're just so skeeved out and crazy, and you're looking at, you're like, I know what that is. They're on to, and nobody gives a shit. I can't even imagine it because he did it for years. I don't know. That's not my thing. I'm not an upper guy. I'm not a speed guy. I'm a downer guy. I'm a depression guy. So that's kind of why alcohol suits me. Maybe that's why Coke suited him. I don't fucking know. Doesn't matter. But the Joey Diaz podcast, awesome. Fighter and the Kid with Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub. Not really on the same addiction tip, but one of the things I like about those guys are they do talk about failure, pushing through it, what it takes to be successful. They're funny guys. I listen to their podcasts a lot, and it's cool. He talks about it. I got a lot of perspective of him, and we have one thing in common. We're Duncan Trussell on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and one of my biggest ones is Tate Fletcher, Pirate Life podcast. Chances are, this is his quote, if you are surrounded by a bunch of fucktards, you're probably a fucktard. Accountability. I love it. Jocko Willink. The list goes on with the podcast. I don't know. We're probably going to list them. I'm attaching myself to all these names and everything like that, but that's not to throw out feelers or anything like that, but you guys got to understand. When you're at the lowest of your low and there's someone who's out there that you can... They're like a mentor without being a physical mentor, and you relate to them. They say things and maybe conduct themselves in ways that change your life. It's important. It's important. It's really powerful that it's out there because, like I said, my life's not perfect. Jessica's life's not perfect, but it's good that there's those resources out there for people because I guarantee you Joe Rogan has saved a life before. I guarantee you Joey Diaz has saved a life before. Sounds like we're being over dramatic, but we're not, because there have been times where I've listened to them and I've just wanted to crush someone after work, and I was like, whoa, these dudes told me what I needed to hear at this point in time. So I think stuff like that is important. To wrap this up, we got 2 more things. We just want to give you guys links to our social media. We've got Gmail, addictionbyaddicts@gmail.com. You can send us your questions, concerns, facts, call us scumbags there if you'd like. Or facebook.com/someone will be like, fuck you, you don't understand what it's about, man.
Yes, we do understand.
I fucking lost it.
We want to help.
It's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't go as dark as you, but the fuck does that mean? I mean...
We want to share stories to help people.
People aren't going to give a fuck. Some aren't, some are. It is what it is. There's always going to be that balance. Facebook, www.facebook.com/addictionbyaddicts. You can follow us on Twitter, which we're going to start tweeting stuff out, Addiction by Addicts at twitter.com. And we're going to be posting our stuff on Libsyn, Libsyn. That's where all our stuff's going to be archived.
You'll find all the links in the descriptions and the show notes in www.addictionbyaddicts.wordpress.com. That's where you can find all our information and all of our links and so forth.
Lastly, while we close this up, Addiction by Addicts, neither Jessica or myself are certified licensed counselors. We've never claimed to be. We have to throw it out there that, look, your best bet if you're going through this stuff is to go to a place where there are these counselors. All we're doing is we're bringing extra tools to you, our experiences, other people's experiences, in an open forum. But your best bet is to go to a licensed counselor or professional when it comes to going through this stuff. That's a great start. That should not be substituted by our podcast. That's first and foremost. I can tell you from personal experience, I thought that I did not have emotional issues until I went to a professional, and then I realized, wow, I am a certified crazy person. I got some stuff that I have to work through. Once again, was it foolproof for me? No. Hopefully it's foolproof for you. Hopefully it's safe for you. You know you got to work through it. But this is what they do. Day in, day out. Jessica and I do this to help. We've got experience with it, but this is what these people do day in, day out, 40, 50 hours a week. They've got a lot more experiences with a lot more people, a lot more...
They're the professionals.
A lot more stuff with mental health and different medications to take and all that stuff.
Different forms of treatment.
Different forms of treatment. We don't have the experience that they have in this stuff. And once again, this is not a substitution for that. So please keep that in mind. But
we just want to share stories and experiences so that you know that there's someone out there that understands, that you're not alone, and that hopefully by hearing some of these stories and experiences that, you know, it would help you or encourage you or even give you the strength to continue or even to get up and go.
And lastly, we want to end on that Get Up and Go. It's like, it reminds me of that scene in Blow, which I probably shouldn't bring up.
What the?
That scene in Blow
What the fuck?
where Johnny Depp is there with the guy, and he's meeting Pablo Escobar for the first time, and Pablo Escobar shoots the guy in the head, and the guy who had Carlos Later, the guy who plays Carlos Later, is like, Pablo Escobar wants you to go see him. And Johnny Depp's like, what the fuck? I just saw him ice someone and shoot him in the head and then walk around like, it's Tuesday. And then Carlos Later's like, no, you go. And Johnny Depp said, I'm not going to fight. He goes, nah, there is no question like, I don't feel like going or I don't like, no, you go.
Oh my goodness.
There's no...
So you go.
Go.
You go to counseling. You go to see a professional.
Go to the fucking counseling first. It's gonna suck balls, but what's one of the goddamn cliches that you're gonna hear every single rehab you're gonna hear? You're gonna make the choice of which elevator stop you get off at. Is it gonna be all the way down or is it gonna be right here? Well, as annoying as all those cliche things are, they're right. Where are you gonna get off at? Make that distinction for yourself. We're not telling you what to do. Alright, that's it. We will see you guys later, and hopefully you like this. Any feedback will be much appreciated. Behave.
Keep your head up.
Dios, and you go.
Alrighty then. We would like to thank the individuals who took the time out to listen to our podcast. Here at ABA, Addiction by Addicts, we are going to end our podcast with an addiction song that completely touched our hearts. The artist's name is Lisa Scinta. I hope I'm Scinta. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. You can find her on YouTube or at our website at www.addictionbyaddicts.wordpress.com. I'll list her links and the lyrics to her song called Addiction on our webpage. Ciao.
This is for you, Michael.